Where's it is? You got it fast.
That was fast. I was ready.
Finally. Welcome, Allison. We need to share the video of your daughter imitating me.
Oh, that was so funny. So I was listening to our podcast the other day in the car, and my youngest one, she goes, "Why does he talk like that?" I said, "What do you mean?" She goes, "He says, welcome, Allison."
You need to bring it up and we'll show it. Okay, we'll prepare it for next episode.
Yeah.
And we'll show it because it's very fun. It's actually very accurate.
She did a pretty good impression.
Mm-hmm.
I said, Mr. Carlos is from Venezuela, so he has a different accent than we do. But yeah, so
all
I
the
had
people
to...
in Venezuela talk weird. I remember that conversation once Damien came back. I don't know what age he was, but I want to say around kindergarten.
Mm-hmm.
That he told me that his friends asked him why I talk the way I talk. I guess at some point some kids thought I was special or something, but I am.
You are very special. You are.
So, Allison, how you doing? This is episode 18, going after 16, just like...
Yeah, we're getting there.
We're getting there, so...
A little convoluted, but it's okay.
Today we're going to have a conversation, I think it's a little bit serious, It's a little bit serious, more serious than we usually do.
Yeah.
Because we're touching a subject that is becoming increasingly problematic in our society.
It has.
And even in our little community, there is a problem that it touches absolutely everybody. I'm pretty sure everybody knows somebody, or at least knows about somebody that has gone through the problem of addiction.
Yes.
And this organization is called Reconciliation Ministries.
Mm-hmm.
And they help people that have struggled with addiction to overcome that monster.
Yes.
Because that's exactly what it is.
I didn't realize that we had something like that available in our community.
Mm-hmm.
Outside of a hospital type setting.
Mm-hmm.
So when I was doing a little bit of research on it before we interviewed them, I was really surprised and thankful to know that it's out there, because as you said, drug and alcohol addiction has become
a problem.
Really out of control.
Yeah.
And I think everybody knows someone that it has touched, and it seems like that this ministry really is working hard to get men, because apparently, from what we learned, they only treat men. Right now. But to get them back on their feet, and I like the way that they're approaching it. So
that is the biggest problem with addiction, Allison. That it's not one way to fix it. It's never you break a bone and you get a cast, and you take a couple of pain killers or whatever it is, and then suddenly that escalates into something bigger and bigger and bigger. And there is a lot of stories out there of people that became addicts without even knowing.
Right. Yeah. I know I have a friend who her son went in to have his wisdom teeth out, and she would not allow him to have pain medicine other than, Tylenol, ibuprofen, because she was so concerned about his addictive personality. And that if he was exposed to that, then one thing leads to another. And I don't think anybody grows up and says, hey, I think I'm going to turn into an alcoholic, or I think I'm going to get hooked on drugs today. I think it's small things that happen, and it snowballs from there with most people anyway.
Let's listen to the conversation, and we can wrap it up with our thoughts after. Okay?
Sounds good. You just cut me.
All right. Hi, and we are here with Ashley and Levi from Reconciliation Ministries. Hey guys, how you guys doing today?
Good, how are you?
Good.
We are good. Thanks so much for coming on and telling us a little bit about Reconciliation Ministries. I actually had not heard of it until Carlos told me that you were going to be on the podcast. So I looked it up and read a little bit about it, and I'm excited to learn more. It sounds like a really great ministry that y'all are doing in our community.
Well, thank you. Yeah, we hear a lot that we're the best kept secret in the Midlands area. And so thanks for giving us the chance to share on the podcast, and hopefully that can change that to where people can hear and we can be a resource to those in the community.
Tell me, Ashley, what exactly do you do for those that are listening for the first time, this name?
Yeah, so a quick one sentence is we empower men to overcome their addiction. We could sit here and talk all day about what that looks like, but we provide a 15-month-long residential recovery and discipleship program for people who are in addiction. We feed, house, clothe, disciple, really anything you can imagine for 15 months. We provide it here, and most importantly, though, just give people a chance to heal, to reconcile their relationship to God, themselves, and others, and to let them know there's hope. You don't have to continue to live the way that you've lived, and also that the Lord can redeem and reconcile those relationships in your life that you thought were never possible.
So that sounds nice, but I understand that you actually have a very strong program, and it's not just. And I understand the power of the Word of God, but you also go further than that. You have you establish a home for people that don't have one. You separate them from the entire environment and pretty much build them up from scratch. Is that correct?
Yeah, you're exactly right. One of the things that we really believe sets us apart, and Levi and I were just talking about this, is really our aftercare. So, while they're in the ministry, we they're not only working with our staff, but as they get to a certain stage in the ministry, we send them to counseling, and we do group counseling sessions as well. But you're right. What happens after the 15 months? And so we have housing. We connect people with employment opportunities. If people want to go back to school, we have partnerships with local universities to send them to college. And we're really in it for the long term. It's not just something where you come in for a couple months and leave, but we really want to see their whole life restored. And like I said, we're partnering with them, whether it's 6 months after the ministry or a couple years. We have one person here who's been here for almost 5 years, and we've been able to walk alongside him and help him anything from getting a driver's license back to getting custody of his kids. And so we walk alongside every area that you can imagine.
That's an amazing service. I know when you were first explaining it, you said for men, do y'all also have opportunities for women who are dealing with the addiction as well?
Yeah, we do not at this time. We did have a ladies program, and to be completely honest, we found that there were a lot of good partners in our area better than us. And that was a hard decision to make, honestly. But we have some great partners in the area who serve ladies really well. We do have some transitional housing that we offer, and a majority of that is for ladies. And so that's a separate piece. It doesn't have as intensive programming offered by any means, but they're a part of our community in that way.
So Ashley, guide me a little bit through the process itself. Let's say, I have a problem with addiction. I want to get out, but I don't see the light at the end of the tunnel. How do I get to reach out to you? How does my family get to reach out to you? And what would be your process? I believe that you are inundated with requests at this point. How do you make that selection process? And what are the steps again?
Yeah, well, Levi is actually our intake coordinator here with us, and I'm going to let him kind of walk you through what that looks like, even like what a day in the life of his life looks like, because he gets tons of phone calls, and you're right, there's a lot of people struggling, and so I'm going to let Levi share what that intake process looks like.
So you said if you struggled with addiction or had a family member that struggled with addiction, what you would do is we have a phone number that you would call, and you'd either leave a voicemail or I'd be available to have an extensive conversation. We do pre-screening. People that have any sex crimes or take certain medications are not okay with a lot of things because we're highly structured. Again, we're a nicotine-free campus. You can't take a lot of medications with us, only, diabetes, cholesterol, blood pressure, things like that. So there's a lot of determining factors. If you're eligible or not is very broad. But so if you're someone who's struggling with addiction and needs help, you'd call, we'd go through the pre-screening, and if you made it past the pre-screening, then you either check in for a certain amount of time, like 3 days a week, or if it's like an emergency type situation, I can bring you in sooner than that. But it all depends on if they're sick and tired of being sick and tired, or if they're manipulating their family, or if they're just out of drugs. There's that phone call process really helps us vet what's really going on in the situation. So once they get here, a lot of people are either homeless, or they come out of family situations, or they're coming out of jail where parole and probation approved. So there's people coming out of all walks and aspects of life. And then once you make it here, or once you're here, it's highly structured. Doing whatever they wanted to do is how they kind of got here in the first place. So when they get here, structure is very much a part of their day-to-day. They wake up at 5:30, they do chores. After chores, they go to breakfast. After breakfast, they clean up after breakfast. And then they do what's called a learning center, which is organized out of 5 contracts. It's 15 months, there's 5 contracts, and it takes about 3 months to get through each contract. And each contract works on a certain spiritual principle. The first one's salvation. The fourth one is relationships. So they get walked through, and each contract is tailor-made to each person. Here, we can't just cram all addicts into the same cookie-cutter type thing that'll work. I've had a different childhood and different traumas than the next guy, and they've struggled with different things and have been exposed to a variety of different things on why they've, let their behavior manifest into dangerous behaviors. So throughout that contract, they really start to open up and really start to hunt down the root causes of why they do what they do. We don't teach classes on drugs and alcohol. We go below that. We already know about drugs and alcohol, but here they address the issues that they've ignored and refused to deal with for a long time.
Do you
15 months for sure.
Do you have any separation between somebody that comes with an alcohol addiction, and somebody that comes with a heroin addiction, and somebody that comes with a crack cocaine addiction, for example, or a meth addiction?
So each drug has their own little culture. Like methamphetamine users are different than heroin users, but it's all the same because it's all taking us down the same path. So talking about that hopelessness and how dark it can get, it depends. But no, there's no separation between what drug they use. If it's alcohol or any illicit drugs, they all come here.
And how do you deal with that withdrawal process that it's known to be one of the hardest stages on that disease?
So, we're not a medical facility. So people who are, if they're, we call it kicking, like if you're kicking heroin or fentanyl, it makes it extremely difficult for them to be here their first week. Those are very, very rare cases. But most of the time, especially with benzos and alcohol, because you can die from those withdrawals, we strongly encourage them to go to a detox program, and then I'll pick them up myself or send a staff member to pick them up from that detox and come straight into our ministry.
That makes sense. So how many men do you have there on average?
Well, due to our housing and the buildings that we own, we can expand and contract. But right now, usually about average is about from 12 to 18, 12 to 20 guys.
Okay.
Right now, it's about 17.
And the 15-month contract, I'm assuming that's a hard number. They can't, come in and in 8 months say, I'm good, ready to go.
Right. No, the 15 months is minimum, actually. They're only progressing if they're doing the work, if they're showing growth and maturity in their character. It takes a long time to unpack these things. It takes, statistically, it's 6 to 8 months for their minds to even start healing from these illicit use. So we used up every bit of the 15 months, definitely.
Did you say 6 to 8 months for their minds to start healing?
Yes, from methamphetamine use, from alcohol, from some drugs are different. Methadone, some of them get down there into your bones, literally, and it takes a while for you to start eating right, sleeping right, and treating your mind like the muscle it is to really rehabilitate, for sure.
That's incredible.
Wow. Tell me about, maybe Ashley, you can chip in this, because now the question will be towards your expansion goals. What do the numbers look like for the next 5 years to you?
Yeah, so we're, I think one of the really unique things, and we've touched on this a little bit, is just our housing piece and what we provide after a student graduates. The really neat thing is over the past, 7 years, we've not only been able to see lives transformed, but the community that we're in transformed as well. And so we're off the intersection of St. Andrews Road and 26 and what we call the Beatty Downs community. It's literally a dead-end road with 2 cul-de-sacs, and there's 25 multi-family buildings down here. There's 86 apartments represented, and currently we own 9 of those, and we're under contract for 2 more. And so that once we have those, we'll be at 39 apartments, which is really awesome. And we're making our way towards our goal of owning all 25 buildings. We believe the Lord's going to allow that to happen one day, and really for this just to be a place, a community where, our day one student, because we have our dorms down here, and then we also have our graduates living down here. And so it's just an awesome chance for our students who are just coming in the ministry to see, a student who's been with us for a while, and to see their marriage restored, to see their kids back, and a lot of times people come in and think that can never happen to me, but they get to witness it with their own eyes. They get to see kids, riding their bikes down the road and their parents with them together, and just that wholeness. And we believe this community affords us the opportunity to do that. One of the projects we're really excited about right now is one of our buildings is under construction. It's going to be our commercial kitchen and dining hall space. We really don't have a big meeting space right now for whether it's just any group activity or even eating. And so that's going to be kind of our really prized possession for a while. And so it's super exciting, and we're excited to have that be finished up sometime in the fall.
So how do y'all fund this? Is there a cost for the men who come? Are they paying out of pocket, or is it donations? What does the funding look like?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. So we do have an intake fee, but a majority of people who come to us can't pay that. And so we have said from day one, we never want to turn anyone away due to finances. And so anyone who, fits the criteria and is eligible and willing can come in. And so a majority of our budget is funded by the generosity of individuals, businesses, and churches. But we also have a coffee trailer that goes around to different events, and it's a great opportunity for students in the ministry and our graduates to learn just what it's like to run a small business. They learn barista skills. And so if you ever have an event and need our coffee trailer there, we'd love to be there. And then we also have a furniture store called the Storehouse, where we get furniture actually most of it's from Macy's. And so we sell furniture there. And so those two are also pieces that generate a little bit of revenue for the ministry as well.
Ashley, I have a very difficult question, because I know it's a very, very, very complex situation, addiction, which still, being studied and seems like it's actually getting out of control right now in the society. But what would be your graduation rate out of all the people that start your program? How many actually complete it and become drug-free?
Yeah, that's a great question. We have people all the time ask, what does success look like for you? And normally we flip that back to them and say, well, what does success look like to you? Because different people measure that in different aspects. And so on a normal given year, and now we've expanded a lot over the years, but we typically have 7 to 10 people who complete and graduate the ministry in a year. now to some people, they might say, wow, that's fantastic. And others might say, well, that's not a ton of people. But when you think about it, if you think about that over a 10-year span, that's, about 100 people. And that's not just 100 people whose lives are changed. That's 100 families that are changed. That's people who, if they have kids, that's 100 plus children whose lives are changed. And so, it really does vary. And we have people that come into the ministry and then they leave 8 months into it. And, we hope that the seed that's been planted in their life will continue to flourish over the years. But we say all the time, we do what we've been entrusted with and provide an opportunity for everyone who wants it. And then the rest is really in that person's hands.
Yeah, absolutely. So for those that leave early, is it an open door policy for them to come back, or how do y'all handle that?
Well, it's highly structured. So if they leave on the self-dismissal, then they'd have to check in for an extended period of time. But over time, it's not an open door policy, because as having addictive personalities and us knowing how to manipulate and kind of work a system, we're really structured in that aspect. So if they come and they leave, there's opportunities for them to come back. It's just they just have to follow the rules and policies that come along with that.
That makes sense.
Part of that is, we didn't want to create a culture where you can just leave and then come back a week later, because then...
So to protect the students that are still here, because everyone's watching, as far as, does that mean I can leave, go smoke cigarettes, get high, and, destroy everything that's been working in my family for the past few months, and then I get to come back whenever I want. So it's really to protect the students that are actually doing it and growing and maturing. I know for me, I did heroin for 16 years and started doing methamphetamine towards the end of my addiction, and my marriage falling apart and a best friend overdosing is kind of what provided some moments of clarity for me. But in Ohio, it was $9,000 for 9 days to go into a place that gave me Suboxone, and then after that, I was discharged with a Suboxone prescription, and then owed $9,000. I didn't have that when I went in, and I sure as heck didn't have that coming out, especially with all the bridges that I burned, manipulating and lying to get money from my family for so long. So it's a very real, tangible place where people can get the help that they desperately need. So
that is a great thing that you guys are doing in there, and we would love to help as much as you can. In a few words, for people that are listening, where do they go to see if they can donate, they can participate? What's your website or information or contact?
Yeah, so our website is just www.reconciliation-min.org. Our phone number is 803-727-4697. And then check us out on Facebook as well. We love to give updates on there also, and we're just Reconciliation Ministries on social media.
Okay, great.
Awesome.
Now, do y'all accept donations, or are there things that you need on a weekly, monthly basis that you're looking for from the community?
Yeah, obviously being a nonprofit and trying our best to never make money an issue for students coming in, we're always in need of financial donations. One of our goals this year is to actually increase the number of our monthly sponsorships. It's really easy on our website. You can click donate and then sign up for $20 a month, $10 a month, $100 a month. And that really makes a huge impact. But also if you're a business owner, or you have a church small group or something like that, we always have people call and say, hey, what do you guys need this month? And they do like an in-kind donation drive where maybe they organize a group that, we give them 5 food items, or they bring us laundry detergent or paper towels or things like that. Those are incredibly helpful, because those are funds that we don't have to spend. And you can only imagine how much laundry detergent we go through a week.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you both so much. We really appreciate you sharing what you're doing. It's a great service, and good to know that it is available in our community.
Yeah, thank you guys. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you for having us, guys. It's nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you,
You
too,
too.
Levi. All right, bye, Ashley.
See ya.
Bye.
So there's that. There's that. One thing I really like about them is that it's not about just quantity. Let's get 200 people today and see which one sticks.
Right.
They go the whole holistic process.
They're very invested.
Yeah. Remember, addiction is not a problem that you can solve. With hey, here is a Tylenol. Sit there for 24 hours and you're gonna be detox and see you in 3 months.
Yeah.
It is a daily situation. It's actually for people that go through it, and I've had friends that have gone through it, and it goes into every single minute of their lives. They're thinking about it every single minute, any day, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. It overcomes their thoughts. I mean, at some point, they just don't want to do anything else.
Right.
And if you surround yourself with those type of, that type of person at all times, it's even worse. You can't even come out.
Yeah. This Reconciliation Ministries is unique, in my opinion, in that they treat the men for their 15 months. But then they're also minimum, correct. But they're also creating a community where they can live after that. So it's a lifelong support system instead of, so many rehabs or treatment facilities, whether it be for drugs, alcohol, depression, whatever. You get the treatment, and then once they've checked that box, that timeline that you're supposed to be there, you're out.
Yeah.
And that's it. And I think that's definitely one of the reasons why there's so much relapse. But the fact that they're trying to grow a community, not just a community of people, but an actual community of apartments and places for once these men have graduated to live with their wives or children or just on their own and have that constant support. I think that's amazing. I think they're really going to continue to do really great things in our community.
Yeah, and I've been thinking out like really hard into trying to find not a solution, because that'll be too big of a word, but what can I do? What can I do to help? Because I am a true believer that the better community, the stronger the community we are, the easier the job as parents is going to be for us.
Absolutely.
So it's kind of a selfish but not selfish, you know what I mean, way of thinking about this. Right. Saying, okay, maybe that doesn't affect me directly, but if it affects somebody that is hanging out with my son, it will affect me at some point. So I want to programs like this to actually become very successful and to see, if they're able to eradicate the problem, to be honest with you, I can talk for hours and hours about this.
Well, and I think it starts, definitely supporting organizations like this, but supporting the ones that also are trying to get out there to get to, especially the young kids, to prevent.
Yes.
I think prevention is really the key in, you say you want it to stop completely. Well, we've got to prevent it from starting to begin with.
Yeah, no, I agree, absolutely.
But I think having open conversations about this, and also just getting the word out there about what's available, that help is available.
And there isn't a simple answer for how do you prevent that problem to happen, because you never know, You never know. It's definitely one thing that we as parents, are very scared that our kids will go through that, and if there's something I can do to prevent that, I'll probably try. But even though if I know that even though if I try my best, a lot of things go out of my control, a lot of things I can't control. I know great, amazing parents that have suffered from kids with addictions, and vice versa, great kids that come from parents with addiction problems, It's very, very, very complex subject.
It
and
is.
I don't know how to finish this episode on a high note.
I don't know.
'cause
I don't think
want
there
to-
is a high note. I guess the high note.
The high note is
that,
gonna be the guys like Levi that
Yes,
was
has a
able to
success
come
story.
out. Yeah, a success story, come out of that.
and now he's
black
giving
hole.
back.
And now he's helping others to overcome that. So, big round
There's
of
the silver
applause for
lining.
people like Levi.
Absolutely.
There is hope. There is hope at the end of the tunnel. There is light at the end of the tunnel. And your phone is ringing.
There's the light.
Well, I think that's a high note that,
I think
that we
so.
want to drop it off.
Yeah.
Thank you to everybody that is listening. And again, Reconciliation Ministries. I really believe that they're doing it the right way. They are doing, of course, like you said, they're not on the prevention side. They're in the, all right, let's try to fix it,
Yeah.
And that's important at this point. Hopefully one day we don't need them anymore, just because the problem is eradicated. But anyway,
Yep.
congratulations, Levi. Thank you, everybody, and see you next week.
Yep. Bye.
Bye.